Are you tired of pretending that all of this is normal? I'll tell us this, if you're watching this video for a boo-hoo, my life sucks and the world sucks and people suck nowadays and things are so different, if you're looking for that type of video, this is not that. You can click off right now. This video is to say, for those people that are in that state of mind though, I will tell us the answers of what are the next steps, right? So in my life, I felt this way too, especially in my early 20s, okay? Started working a job. I did the whole route of going to college, get a degree, get a job, all the things. And I was like, how in the world is this normal? And honestly, I was so blessed because I had an internship, which was supposed to be a co-op. A co-op is nothing but where you work, study, work, and then, study basically, right? So in other words, you're basically taking a break of a semester. Instead of doing classes, you're going out to work in the workforce. And it was promised as a 3 internship rotation. What had happened is I did 1 rotation and they didn't extend for the next 2. My performance was fine, the team loved me, all the great things, but their budget changed and they couldn't, support this program any longer. So lo and behold, there was no more program. And that's when the first thing in my mind went off like, wow, a job is not guaranteed for quote unquote 40 years just because you get a degree. Like, it doesn't work like that. This whole world of corporate or just the game after college is not like, maybe it used to be like that. You get a job and you're just there for quote unquote forever, whatever the heck that means, right? And the blessing was me seeing that, hey, things can be finite. Things aren't there forever. And from there, luckily, I was like, okay, I got a job after college and then, I chose to switch jobs after, and that's my choice. And the beauty of the job market at that time, it was quite strong. You could jump around, get higher salaries, all the things. And now things have changed. So what people are complaining about / totally understand the inverse frame of today, where I can only fathom getting out of college in that COVID era and then having a degree, having no job, having this great degree from maybe a great school, but you have nothing to show for it because you were never able to work. And now you try to find work, you can't. And you're like, hey, I'll take a pay cut, I'll take anything. And even that's tough nowadays. And with that, prices still go up, right? Inflation keeps on going up as it does. The economy is doing what it's doing. So of course, when people are saying, is this normal? Are people really, giving up on dreams, on aspirations, on business, on all these things? Are they not having kids anymore? Are they not looking at buying assets because, hey, where's the income going to come from? Or why should I get married? Because, then I have to take care of potentially one more person, right? If you look at the traditional 1 income for 2 people, but now both people are basically forced to work. Like, what's cool on social media nowadays is a term called DINK. It's been around for a little time. It's called dual income, no kids, where basically 2 partners are earning money with no kids, so they have more to spend, and they may spend it, save it, do whatever they want. It's their money. But the feeling, the sentiment, right, if you look at the market, you could say, right, there's times when the economy roars. So for example, 2016, around 10 years ago actually, right, from this year / time of recording, we're looking at, okay, Trump got into power. Stock markets rallied, right? Economy is booming. There's so much, not just hype, but belief. Like, there's so much optimism, right? And this is basically the inverse, because during COVID, we had even more optimism. If you talk about the stock market or how people could get, checks, right, during that time frame, especially if you're a waiter earning, let's say, 2K. I had friends who were earning 4K by, claiming unemployment plus like stimulus plus some other program that was there at the time. So all of that to say, when people see like, hey, I'm working for money and now I'm getting this thing easier, they're like, well, why would I work harder for the same thing? Typical for like that salary type of mentality. But now fast forward, when those benefits stop, but people are like, well, I wasn't working, I was getting all this. Of course, the average Joe is going to be like, why should I work, right? And if you don't work, you don't have resources. But then the inverse logic of today is, okay, well, if I have resources, everything's so expensive, so why am I even working for what? Scraps, for pennies, for still having debt, for not earning enough according to what my minimum monthly payments are, my grocery bill, gas is through the roof, So I totally understand that reference frame of, if that is the normal, and if you don't pretend, then you're basically going to just lash out. You're going to express yourself. You're going to say, how in the world is this logical, right? And what I'm saying in my own experience, right, step by step, I went from, okay, what the F is this noise, right? How can I change my future? It was more about, what can I do next, right? If this is the game and this is the arena, right, the map, whatever you want to call it, a video game analogy is nothing but saying, okay, how do you still conquer it? okay, your experience points, your this and that, you may not have that many resources, so you got to do the hard work. You got to go into the, grass, as they call it in Pokemon, and go, like, train your Pokemon by destroying Pokemon in the wild, right? And when you have more experienced Pokemon that you're against with trainers or gym leaders, right, then you get more experience. So I was like, okay, so what do I do, right? And I realized the hack, and it's not a hack, it's common sense. It's actually what the system preaches. But the system is unfair because it doesn't actually want, and it cannot support everyone being at the same level. Like, this isn't socialism. We live in a capitalistic society. And whether we like it or not, right, that's the truth. So it's not like I created so much value. In other words, people were so happy. They appreciated me so much. They love me so much. I am such a nice guy in society. Like, all those things are great. But you got to produce. Because if you have nothing to show for it, right, then you have nothing to show for yourself. But more importantly, when you kind of compare yourself to others, you don't need to compare to win some game. But it's also a good measuring stick to say, okay, this is what I'm doing, this is where I'm at, this is my normal. Okay, this person's earning, let's say, 10K more a year. What is their normal? Okay, they live in a place that costs rent-wise, let's say, 400 extra bucks. I'm making this up, right? And then their car costs an extra $400 payment because they just chose to, because they could afford it, right, on their income. But now you're just spending exactly that same difference, and 10K at around like 70% tax is like $7,000. So per month, whatever that math is, it's not exactly like that 800 figure. But you kind of see what I'm trying to say. In short, it's basically saying, like, hey, if you want to get out of the trap, it's not about spending. It's about asset accumulation. And when I realized, like, okay, I'm doing what I'm doing because I had a big why. I had a big why of, hey, we had some turbulent times growing up. I've seen, poor times in my life. I've seen wealthy, I've seen poor, I've seen ups and downs, met people from all walks of life. And I said to myself, once you're poor, right, if you've ever felt that, even if it's not like real, right, like there's like a feeling of what do you feel poor is, it's all relative. And I realize, and anybody who's ever been poor will say the same thing, because that feeling is like you never want to see poverty again. You never want to see poor, whatever that feeling is, ever again in your life. And you'll do anything to stay out of it. And what's bigger than that, my why was so strong because it wasn't me only who was being affected. It was my direct family, right? I'm talking about like my parents, my brother, etc., right? And those around me that I added to my life. In other words, my girlfriend, future wife, like all these things are interconnected, right? So if it's interconnected, what is the solution? The solution is when you have that much motivation, right? Your why is so strong to say that you yourself are, content, but those around you aren't. That why supersedes your own self. You basically have this motivation, determination, commitment, all the words to say, hey, this is never going to happen again, and I'm not going to do this. So coming back to our topic, if you pretend things are normal, right? It's all about pretending, right? If you pretend everything is okay when it's not, you're not going to get anywhere. And right now, things aren't great where they are. So if we're pretending this is normal, you're not going to get anywhere. So my advice is basically, yes, take action. But what is a tangible next step? A tangible next step is, look at me, right? I've been working, let's say, corporate America, salary jobs, all these things. But I'm also an investor outside of everything. So this part of this video is sponsored by me, but it's really a way to get out, with this same, are we all pretending this is normal? Like, no one likes it. But you have to change, because if you don't, you're going to be stuck exactly where you are. And guess what? You won't be as healthy. You won't be as young. You may not be as wealthy. You may lose time. You're not getting experience. Like, everything is going against you, simply put, right? So after everything, instead of trading your time for money, assets, they go up for, numerous reasons. And there's some crappy investments too, right? So I'm honestly saying that in this situation, I'm telling us that there is an investment opportunity. It's by me, right? So it's a hotel room project, okay? It's a 250 hotel room where basically it's like, hey, let's go for 5-star status. Can't guarantee it because, it won't be, basically actually seen as, hey, is this 4-star, 5-star after construction is fully complete. But this project, construction has started. Basically, myself, like owners of land, developing all the things. And in this project, I have a choice. I can go to the bank, I can get money, right, borrowing from them, pay them an interest rate. I definitely can. But at the same time, there's enough capital that I've already put in up front. And at this point in my journey of everything, right, is like, hey, let's not just do this alone, because I can reap the rewards. But I've been on top of the mountain. It can be lonely. It can be like, all right, I'm balling, but what about my crew, right? What about the people that I care about or think similarly, right? People that are watching this far in this video, I'm assuming we're thinking similarly about what in the world is the next step. So there's an opportunity for you to invest. And I say that because if I wanted to invest into a Marriott, a Hilton, a IHG, Wyndham, all these type of properties, I can't. I can buy Marriott stock, sure, but am I owning the cash flows of a property? Am I owning real land? Am I owning a property that can appreciate? I'm talking 2-3x in a few years. Why? And obviously this is YouTube, so compliance and everything with money and, you know, talking about this topic, you know, no guarantees, right? But the understanding is simple. You have land. It's in a highly tourist area, developing area, and that land is being developed with not just any development, with the commercial development. And so you would actually own property in your name, whether that's a 1-bedroom, a 2-bedroom, or you want to own a certain amount of square feet just to control profits, right? Just to earn them, like monthly income, literally. You can do that too. And that's still X amount of land, which means you are reaping that appreciation. And beautiful part, even before construction is complete and we're like totally in business, right? Because I'm not going to the bank primarily, we're looking at whoever invests, that interest rate, in other words, like a monthly income amount, comes to you. So it's not like you're just investing and waiting for this thing to happen. You're getting paid consistently as time goes on, as if I was just going to the bank and doing the same old thing, right? So it's a win-win for you, for me. And I've seen this as a solution where it's like, hey, I have deal flow. I have opportunity. It's like a car dealership. They have deal inventory, right? You can sell a car, get commission. It's the same difference here. But instead of me just doing everything and being high and mighty, I've seen that I've been a part of communities, whether you call it beatbox community, the credit card community, you know, different financial content communities, like right here where we're making videos online, right? And when you have similar thinkers, everything becomes easier because there's a level of trust, understanding, and also that opportunity to go back and forth. It's not like I'm not selling us here like I need to do the sales pitch. It's the inverse of, hey, I would love for us to win together because we're not looking at today or tomorrow. I'm thinking decades out. And it's as simple as that. So if you're interested, there's a link in the description below. We can talk one-on-one. I'll go over all the details. But with that, listen, pretending and all, it's all nonsense. It's about, you know, subduing yourself in the short term. You're not going to get anywhere. It's basically avoiding reality. But when you look at reality, yeah, it may suck. But guess what? Do you suck? I don't think you do. I don't even know you. Or do I? Right? So you came this far in the video. I don't think I suck either. And so there is a way, right? If there's a will, there's a way, and there's a path forward. It is possible, nothing is impossible. So let's come to the real end. See you in the next one. Like, share, subscribe, all the things. Catch you then. Peace.